everyone. Welcome back to Talent Talks, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of hiring, building teams, and the incredible talent behind growing DTC brands. I'm your host, Aycee Gardner, CEO of Behind the Scenes Studio. And today, I'm joined by a special guest, Coco, who oversees culture of our company. Coco, it's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks, AC. I'm super excited to be here and chat about one of my favorite topics. And you know this, it's really how company culture impacts growth, especially for DTC brands. So super excited, super excited.
Amazing. So yes, same here. So for our listeners, you might be wondering, my co-host Larry is missing today. Well, she's currently in China overseeing vendor management for some of our clients. So it's a big shout out to her for doing that important work. But she'll definitely be back soon. And in the meantime, Coco and I will be diving into how building the right culture and the right team in this crucial time for scaling a brand.
Yes. And speaking of scaling, AC, I want to take this opportunity because this episode is also a teaser for our upcoming webinar, Beyond the Product, Building the Team That Scales Your DTC Brand. So it's going to be on Thursday, November 21st. You'll definitely want to stick around for that. But first, let's talk about how culture plays a massive role in all of this.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Coco, let's start. Let's start with the big picture. What do you think makes company culture so crucial for scaling DTC brands?
Well, culture is everything, really. Culture is everything for me. At the end of the day, your team is the engine that powers growth. And if they're not aligned with your vision and values, then that engine typically stalls. So whether it's your media buyers, your creative strategists, your supply chain experts, that whole line, when they feel connected to a company's mission and each other, their productivity, creativity, and overall satisfaction and performance actually skyrockets. So it really affects everything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And when you think about specific roles like the ones we'll be covering in the webinar, how does culture specifically impact their performance?
Well, it impacts their performance in a lot of things. But for example, let's say media buyers. So they need to understand the brand deeply to communicate its value to the customers effectively. So that's not just having the right skills. Of course, you have to have skills. But at the end of the day, it's really about feeling invested in the brand's success. And I guess the same goes for other front-facing roles like customer experience specialists. Since they're in the front line, and if the culture is strong, then they'll actually provide service that truly represents the brand. So super, yeah. And for all of the major role, even major minor roles in a company, it really plays a big part in performance.
Thank you. And you mentioned performance. So how does a great culture shape team performance and decision making, especially in a fast-paced DTC e-commerce environment?
Well, I guess it's when you have a positive and inclusive culture, people are more open to sharing ideas and collaborating and working with each other. So this means that there's really better and faster decision making. There's fewer mistakes actually. And when you have a more agile team that can adapt quickly to changes, it's especially important. So it's also crucial, for example, in e-commerce where things move fast and teams need to pivot quickly there. That's super, super important in that. So when everyone's in the same page, you can do a lot of things more effectively.
I love that. It's almost like culture give the team a foundation to stand on.
Yes.
Teams get challenging.
Yes.
Do you have an example of a time when culture made a difference for a team?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many examples, but for example, maybe remember when we had a major product launch last year, pressure was on because our it was our first time, we were new to it, but because the team felt valued and they felt empowered because of that. They stepped up in so many ways and really beyond our expectations. Everyone from marketing team to operations, the whole team really came together because they knew they were part of something bigger. And I guess it's one big example of what culture can do. It can really make teams come together and collaborate and do big things together.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. It's just like, I feel there's also the culture of openness,
Yeah.
culture allowing things to flow and go on its own, and then just like being okay to wearing multiple hats and the likes. It's not just because of your JD, but because you are embracing the bigger mission of what the company is doing. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about challenges for a moment. As companies scale, maintaining that strong culture can be tough. So what are some common challenges you've seen, and how can leaders overcome them?
Well, I guess for a lot of the companies I've worked with, partnered with, I've seen and have witnessed it. The biggest challenge is really keeping the culture consistent as you grow. Because it's easy when you're a few. It's easy when it's just like 2, 3 of you. You get along and you make things happen, and culture is there, and it's maintained by the 3 of you. But it's especially challenging when you start hiring more people, more different types of people to join your team. And then you also start, for example, hiring remote talent like us. So it's so easy for remote talent to be in silos because that's the nature of the work. You don't see anyone. You're not, in a close, I guess, within close quarters of your teammate. But I guess you really need to overcome that. That's one of the biggest challenges. And leaders need to be intentional about, I guess, communication, creating opportunities for collaboration, and really just reinforcing the company values that you started and really reinforcing it regularly and consistently. And this especially applies to remote, but also, of course, to in-house teams.
Yes, and as we scale, it's easy to lose sight of those little things.
Yes.
People engage and align, but as you said, it's about being intentional, which ties in the upcoming webinar, right?
Yes. Segue to our webinar where we will dive deeper in, I guess, how to build teams that not only get the job done, so it's not just skills, but also how to fit into the culture and help that culture thrive. Because in the long run, it also helps the company be successful at the end of it. So we're bringing in experts like Lara, CEO of More Staffing, and JC, the Director of Talent Acquisition, just to really casually and just share experiences and talk about hiring strategies, key roles for e-commerce growth, and really how culture plays a role in all of that.
And for all DTC businesses, business owners, and HR teams out there, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
We'll be breaking down the must-have roles from media buyers to supply chain experts and showing you how to structure your team for long-term success. Okay, so if you're listening and you're ready to take your team and your business to the next level, be sure to join us for the webinar on November 21st at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be diving into how to hire the right talent, how these roles work together, and of course, how a great culture can scale your DTC brand.
Yes, you don't want to miss it. You wouldn't want to miss it. It's going to be packed. It's going to be, it's really going to help you grow your team, both your team and your business. So don't miss it.
Thanks for joining me today, Coco, and thank you for all of you who are listening. We'll see you at the next webinar. Till next time.